Hi guys, apparently I'm live and a couple of minutes early I just wanted you to know that I'm here. So, and I'm doing a couple of technical things in the background. Okay. So if I'm looking weird, it's because I'm checking out this background stuff. I don't have anybody here showing me what's going on, which is okay. So sit back, relax, get ready, and enjoy the background. I'll be back in just a minute. Standing here, so resting desire. Hi everyone, welcome to Star's video. Just sit back, relax, maybe grab yourself some water, start to breathe and stretch, and we're just waiting for people to show up, normally about 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'm preparing some extra special stuff in the background, and just sit back and be excited and relaxed. I'm trying to figure out some technical things like how to go between checking in on what's going on the screen and checking in on any live chat stuff. So if you're here, that would be great if you just say hi, hola, ¿qué pasó? And then I can maybe see it up here, which I don't see. They said it would just magically appear, the chat feed on this part. So, friends of mine, if you would, and if you're watching and you know me and you have my number or a way to get a hold of me, if you have any questions or comments during this thing, ring my phone. And this broadcast starts at 4:20, which is just 2 minutes ago, so we're going to wait another 3 minutes for people to show up and remind you to get cozy, to feel good. And I will be right back. Oh, after I fix this stream, which I see is not going to show me anything that I want to see, which is you guys. I want to see you in the chat. So I'm going to grab my tele so that you can give me a jingle and a ring-a-ding and tell me what your questions are for what we're doing today. If you have any questions about my school, you heard that I have this school. So what kinds of not only questions, but what kinds of arguments come up for you when you think about me being headmistress of this school of magic and shamanism? I mean, this whole realm of healing arts and shamanism is so broad, and it's so filled with these dogmas, these preconceived notions about what gets us to the spiritual or what is ethically and morally correct, and how to treat people for different disorders, or how to, lots of things come up. So if you just want to know if this school covers this, or if this school has thought about this or that, or what we promise, I don't call this semester program that I am talking about today a master class, because I am a master, but I have so much yet to master. We are constantly learning, and that's what I'm teaching my students, is how to have this lifelong love affair with learning these spiritual and shamanic and healing modalities. So be cozy. I'm going to wait another minute or two while I grab my phone so I can communicate with the rest of the world. Hi everyone. Okay, I'm going to just assume that those who are going to hop on will hop on in perfect timing. Hi, I'm Starlight with Starseed School of Magic and Shamanism, and I have so much to tell you today. I'm just making sure my technical stuff is set up. Good, so you can text me if you have my phone number, and you can message me if you have Facebook, and I'll answer while I'm here live. And if you want to write in the chat box, I'm sorry, for some reason my computer is not showing the chat box. So I will answer those questions when I have time to go back to them. So first, before we talk any logical stuff, I'm going to teach you so much today. I promise any level, any level of shaman will learn and find extreme value in what we have to say together. Remember, this is just a light-hearted introduction to what we do at our school. If you're not aware of what I'm doing with this smoke, this is called smudging, and it's just sorry, magic comes before words. It's a way to cleanse any of the negativity in the room, even diseases. I guess if you're going to talk about it in the most generic, basic format. It's also a way to welcome you here into a more spiritual realm where we speak the truth, promise to be sacred with each other, promise to value each other and help each other expand and enjoy life to true happiness. Anyway, we go on and on about that for a while and how to do that in the school. But right now, this day that we're doing today is something so many people ask me about, and it's something I prayed about for a long time. And then I received this 7 genres of magic and shamanism and the healing arts realms, which I am going to share with you today so that you can start to see where you fit into it. The reason I'm doing this program today is I was praying about what could I possibly give to the world in one video that would help people of all levels, of all realms, to start to think in a deeper way about what their magic gifts are and be able to articulate into the world that more accurately. How can I condense this 7-month program, which is super intense, and it's about 70 years of magical experience, phenomenon, understanding, and grok in 7 months. So technically I could probably teach it in a couple of weeks, but it would never sink into the level that it's going to happen for you. And today what I get to do is share this super condensed version of that 7-month program with you today. So there'll be all kinds of hints and tips for you. So I think what I should tell you next is who I am For those of you who aren't familiar with me and haven't seen me before or heard of me before, I'm Starlight. I'm Headmistress of Starseed School of Magic and Shamanism. I'm a medicine woman extraordinaire. I love what I do, and I'm a priestess and teacher and healer and mama. I'm a homeschool mama, and for the past 20 years, 2 decades, I've been mothering, and since I was 5, I started with the magical arts and started reading tarot cards and learning nutrition and wellness and healing the body and anatomy and Buddhism and all of these other realms. And I was so passionate and so seeking that, how to put this story into short form, is that I was dedicated, no matter what. I was going to keep learning about these spiritual phenomenons until I learned how to heal this planet and heal its people off of the resources that I have right here in my heart and that we have available to us all around us all the time. And I'm able to do that now. And that feels really good. But now I just love it. I love this quest. I love to watch people do their healing arts. I love to learn. I love to do these ceremonies. I love to connect with more divine spirits. I love to connect with all kinds of people and ways to the divine. So, what else about me? I've been teaching for classes since 1995, and I've been teaching individuals since before then. And I keep learning, and I learn from my students, and I learn from myself, and I'm constantly on this vision quest to have a more spiritual life, a more magical life, a life with more impact and more healing. So if you're here today, there's about 3 kinds of people that I specialize in helping, and that today, this is for you. So on one end of the spectrum is other people like myself. When I teach this class, I do the homework and I level up each time. So when you learn about the 7 realms of magic and shamanism, and you dive into them, the difference in your life is incredible, right? And for those of you who are also medicine women or priestesses or mamas, you know this. But these basic tenets, the homework each time puts you higher up onto that next level. So I remember one time my next level was to just be the priestess. I could see that I was supposed to lead, and I was supposed to share with people the mystic visions coming through, and it helped to heal large groups and pull people together and remind them how divine each of them are, and how to connect as a community, and how to connect with a more divine place. So that was my next level. Whatever your next level is, whether it's to be able to have enough energy to take your kids out of the house for 1 hour a day, whether it's that you want a thriving healing practice, this course takes you to the next level because of its design, because it takes you through these 7 realms, and each time you go through them, you learn more and you learn deeper. So I'm here to teach how to go deeper at whatever level you're at. So the other types of people that seem to come to my school and really thrive are people that are just waking up to that magical phenomenon probably exists, but people would think I was crazy if I talked about it. And what do I do with the magical phenomenon that I know is happening to me? What about these dreams? What about that ball of light that I saw enter my room? What about that I keep seeing the numbers 222 pop up everywhere? How do I explain that? What do I do with it? How do I... So then the next level of people that seem to come are the people that are a little bit scared about the magical phenomenon that's happening around them. Maybe I have a lot of people who have synesthesia or are empaths or who are haunted by demons or who see demons constantly. They become my students and find their strength and their power and learn how to set their boundaries so that being an empath is actually a lot of fun and no longer something to be afraid of or have social anxiety about, if that's your next level, and you get to decide what your next level is. And there is one other type of person, yes. So if you're here, if you have all of these wonderful friends, or you've had some profound healing experiences, but you don't quite know how to converse with people about it, how to articulate what's going on, how to add to the conversation, because maybe you're lost with some words and you just find yourself smiling and nodding, or being unable to speak what just happened to you, or explain to your friends how they can come to the better place that you came to. For instance, one of my students came in because she just wanted to be able to articulate. She'd been through a bunch of healing experiences that brought her to a more joyful community and tribe, and she just wanted to be able to hold a conversation, but then there were these words like kundalini and chakras and vibration, and some of these things she understood, but we go deep into making sure you can articulate and that we are on the same page with the definition, so that we can easily weave and contribute to the conversations that are going on around us about these kinds of words. So she took the class, and she's painfully shy, and she really was doing well with the healings that she was on, so she felt like she was on her next level. She just wanted to be able to talk about it. Well, it turns out by the end of the school, the ceremony part of magic and shamanism is what she dove into deepest of all, and she became high priestess of this beautiful tribe of women. And I'm pretty sure their reason for meeting was for world peace and to heal people through music. So if you're making baby steps right now, that's okay. But know that if you take this course, it's going to take you pretty deep. We're not fully here to talk about the course, though. You guys want to know, where do you belong in this world of magic and shamanism and healing arts? Are you maybe a medicine woman or a medicine man like I am? Are you a priestess? Are you a psychic? Are you a medium, which is a different type of psychic? They just specifically deal with the dead. So I'm going to show you what they are. Are you ready? Good. So I'm going to tell you the story. How I got this information is that my friends and clients were really excited about what happened to them. I was changing lives. People will stop me at 3 a.m. when I'm walking down on vacation in some other town, and they'll say, "Starlight!" And then they'll come up to me and they'll say, "Do you remember me?" And I'll say, "No, tell me all about it." And they'll tell me what happened between us, because I do see so many people that it helps to spark my memory. And then they'll tell me how their lives have transformed and changed since meeting with me. So people were very curious, "Star, how do you do what you do?" And, I really had to ponder, what am I doing so differently from other mystics, from other shamans, from other healers and psychics and priestesses? Why am I getting the results that I'm getting, which seem to be above a normal experience? So I started watching people graduating from massage school and other shamans and their practices and other readers and channels, and I love them. And I love to refer people that I find are really profound and really catch my eye as a very good reader or a psychic, or maybe they work with scoliosis or epilepsy. The specialists really catch my attention, and I watch, and I love to be able to refer people to people who are really good at their art. So I was thinking, okay, I think I'm starting to get it. I don't know. I really want to teach people what it is and some key elements. I started to see this here and this here that I would want to teach people or tweak this. And then I was driving down the road on some snowy mountain day, very snowy, and all of a sudden, the goddess, that's what she tells me her name is, I think this is Isis, but she gave me this information. Very simply, all of a sudden, I knew the 7 realms of magic and shamanism, and that is what was going to take people to this deeper level. Once they're on that level, they can become the genius at what they're supposed to be genius of and not be sidetracked into what might not really be their fit. That's what they thought might kind of fit what they do. Not sure if that made sense, but carrying on. So it was this syllabus for this course that's 7 months, for 1 month for each of the paths in this healing arts. She also said that there was a couple of creeds that were really important. One is that we have no dogma. So in the Starseed School of Magic and Shamanism, if you're Christian, if you're Satanist, if you're Buddhist, if you're atheist, well, I'm not sure how atheist would work in my school, but I definitely have had some agnostics come in and graduate happily. If you're Krishna, I just have so many types of people that come into these classes. If you're a massage therapist, if you're a nutritionist. So in order to teach healers and mystics and shamans and magical peoples these fundamental tools so that they can be even better at what they do, she said there can be no dogma, which is cool because that's part of what I do in my practice anyway. And so that's really important to know that I teach you. But I do teach about what Jesus would do in this situation, or I'll give you a story about Buddha when he was little, or allegories from different spiritualities, or we go into shamanic journey work and we open up to the divine plane and we talk about tarot and we discuss all of these different paths and ways that could possibly lead you into health or the divine or something something more spiritual, more healthy, more holistic, more shamanic. And then the other thing is no judgment. So it comes along with no dogma. If I'm going to allow you to choose your path and your way, I know that we're each learning different things at different times. If there was nobody to teach me because I used to be a thief, or if there was nobody to teach me because I don't want to take a vow to celibacy, or if there was nobody to teach me because I'm just a little white girl, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I love my students. I love each of you. I love your unique journeys. I love your questions. I love your gumption. I love the way that you jump into life and take off with this information and blossom. So that's an important thing to know. This is just a basic syllabus that I'm talking to you about today, and we go deep. So the very first way of magic and shamanism is what I call virtues and practice. This is some of the really basic fundamentals of magic and shamanism. These are things like, what is meditation? What is spell work? What are some of the virtues? What are virtues? Like compassion and gratitude. Virtues, I'll just tell you, as you accumulate them in your life, create dharinis, which is a Buddhist term for blessings due to some virtue that you've accumulated in your life. They can bend the laws. So because I embody the law of compassion, for instance, because I've accumulated that virtue, I'm practice compassion. I live in compassion. I listen for compassion. I wait for compassion. I love compassion. I make my decisions through compassion. I understand compassion. I can Shakti compassion. So I can bend laws like the law of time and space. I can make myself get somewhere faster or slow down a day so that I could teach people so much information in just a little bit of time. That's pretty cool. I do that for my theta healing classes. And when we do this 3 days of work where I teach you to be a psychic healer, you're a psychic healer in like a day and a half already. And you know it. So there is a special trick I do in slowing down the time so that everything that we have to learn happens in that time. So in class 1, we talk about things like cleansing and purifying, but we not only talk about these things like meditation, we find a way that you can start to practice these virtues, that you can integrate these virtues deeper into your life and feel yourself practicing them. So a lot of people, most people roll their eyes at meditation. They're like, oh my God, I can't do it. That's what I hear more than anything right away. As soon as I mention the word meditate, they're like, oh, I can't meditate. I have tried. Meditation's not my thing. But did you know that there are 16,000 forms of meditation and counting? It's definitely not for everybody to sit and think, Aum, Aum. It works for me. It works for some people, but it's definitely not for everyone. There are meditations where you sit and you're quiet for hours. There are meditations where you're moving. There are meditations where you're creating things. There are meditations where you're loud. I have one for an hour a day that's pretty darn loud. So we go through all of these different types, and then we give you homework to dive deeper into them. I talk about all the different types of smudging and have you go deeper into that. So this first realm is the basics of magic and shamanism. And not everybody on this shamanic path will actually adhere to this. There is some people who just really believe in just being the rawest, dirtiest, frankest desert rat that you can imagine, and that's how they reach their audience, and that's how they do their healing. And that it's not about sage or virtues or any of that, and that's okay. But I'm going to teach you about these realms because once you know them, then you can talk about them. You can talk about your difference with other people. And maybe you'll find one that you actually enjoy doing, or that you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I do that. So anything else? Oh my goodness, yes. I'll just send out a did you know here. Did you know that every single religion works with spell casting? And I teach you how that is and how that's true. And pretty much you work with it whether you are religious or not. Even if you're atheist, you're still working with spellcasting. You probably just don't know the subtle techniques that you're using. We also go over a lot of the disclaimers in magic and shamanism, the things that you need to tell people or that you need to be aware of, or what not to do. This whole time we talk about what not to do, but this is a good place in the virtues and the practices to remember and discover some helpful hints about magic and shamanism, like be careful what you wish for. I learned when I was really young, in primary school, I remember wishing that Jason would like me, that he would appreciate me as much as I appreciated Jason. that he would gaga over me and have a crush on me too. Well, about 2 weeks later, guess what happened? This new kid moved to school named Jason, and I could not get him away from me. So I learned right then that our words are powerful and to be very thoughtful and mindful about how we practice. What else? So we do talk about, I'm checking my messages about the chat. We do talk in this class about how this entire semester and all 7 realms of magic and shamanism have to do with elevating your experience with the divine. So each time we get you as close to connecting with the divine, as close to Samadhi, as close to the 7th plane of existence, as close to God, as close to co-creating with the creator of all that is, with the goddess of love and light, with some highest form of love light you can imagine. So we start off in class 1, and by class 7, we have no doubt when we're there. But it has to start here. We talk about sacred circles, and then we start our homework projects, and we start to connect with each other. And that sacred hoop is really important in the connection of each other, and the fact that there is no competition if you're a shaman, because we need each other. Because when we learn to collaborate, to co-create, to communitas, then we find that as we support each other, we become stronger. As we enjoy each other, we become wiser. As we commune together, we become more enlightened, more inspired, and can help more people and make a bigger impact. So that's one of the basic creeds of my school as well. And in this very first class, we learn these things. We learn these unifying factors, these unifying practices that allow us to connect with the divine within ourselves and out there and within each person that we meet. My guides have asked me to give you a gift from each of these realms on this webinar besides the basic value of whatever you're learning in each realm. So, I did smudge you and everything, but I think what I'd like to do is remind you about something super basic, something super amazing and strong. So when I was a little baby, maybe not a little baby, but as far back as I could remember, I really wanted to find a solution to all the pain in the world that we all had innately with us, that was easy to find, easy to gather, simple to collect, whether we were in Africa or Antarctica. And I started studying nutrition, herbalism, prayer, magic, everything. And then I realized we all have breath. And we take it for granted. And we're taught in school, actually, that it just happens on its own. Which, it might keep us alive on its own, but real, true breath, good, hearty breath that really exchanges our basic chemical structure to make new cells, to make new thoughts, to make new flow in the world. It's important to remember to breathe, to practice breathing. And there are different ways we can breathe in different manners that bring about more energy or more courage or more calm or more peace. So I just want to remind you to breathe in whatever way you want, as long as it goes into your lungs and doesn't just here. You want it to go into your lungs, rest and come out, and rest and go in, and rest and come out. And each of us spirals and flows and ebbs and pauses in different ways in our natural breath. We all have a different rhythm. And when I'm feeling really frustrated or nervous or anxious, if I'm in a party and I feel like I'm not in my balanced, enlightened state, which I'm sure you can all relate to, feeling just off and awkward, even if I'm at a party, if I'm in the grocery store, if I'm in a public place, if I'm in a private place, I take 1 minute to just breathe, or I take 5 breaths. So right now, let's just take 5 breaths. Some people will breathe all the way through their kidneys or their toes. Some people will breathe all the way to the divine plane of existence. As long as you're breathing into more of your lungs and more of your lungs, you're getting healthier. You're getting more balanced. It's putting your system back into a calm place. And to further that, as you breathe in, we're literally, it's an inspiration. So we're inspiring ourselves with anything we want. So what do you want? You want to feel peace? Do you want to feel calm? Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel powerful? Do you want to feel magical? Do you want to feel fairy? Do you want to feel divine? Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel sensual? Whatever you wish to feel, let it inspire you. Think about breathing in inspiration, breathing in curiosity. And as you breathe out, you literally release everything you don't need anymore. Really, just let it go. If you don't want it, let it go. If it's supposed to come back to you, it will come back to you in the right times. But for now, breathe in excitement and curiosity, and just breathe out. Let go of anything that's not serving you, anything outside of this very moment. And just be here now, learning and deepening and remembering. For those people that are already on a heightened level of spiritual awareness, sometimes we definitely fall. It's like that Buddhist 10 realm layer, right? From Buddhism down to hell. And sometimes we slip down the ladder, or sometimes we can't get in touch with our intuition or the divine, or we're having trouble because our cards won't read properly, or our healthcare practice is dwindling because people are suddenly learning, I don't know what's the new thing right now. Instead of lotion, they're using these like face sapper things. So whatever, my point with that is that by remembering some of these basic things, we're validating the truth that we already knew. But oh yeah, just these breaths. Some of us remember that. But in the school, and as we go through the 7 paths, there are things in these 7 ways to these healing arts of magic and shamanism that will remind us and inspire us and reawaken us to those times in our life where we've reached that samadhi, which is a Buddhist way of saying that enlightened state where you are connected and co-creating with the Creator, where you feel blessed and in awe or in nirvana. Going through this 7-month program is a nice way, because just the homework itself will bring you back to the remembrance of that feeling of divinity and that oneness and that wholeness and that peace that helps you to reach the people that you're meant to reach. So the first realm of magic and shamanism is the virtues and the practice, right? Like this is my Gohanzen, and I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo to it for 1 hour a day. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Not just to it, but it opens up a portal for world peace and to put myself into that more enlightened state, and etc., etc. But that's a practice that I do that accumulates virtue. They say that it cuts the root of suffering at its core. So That's the first realm of magic and shamanism. The second realm of magic and shamanism is the spirit realm. I call this part invoking the spirits. So this is the realm of working with power animals, totems, goddesses, angels, journey work, fairy work. It's the start of the psychic, well, maybe not the start of the psychic work, but the emotional empath work, with archetypes, with kundalini, with karma, with the laws. So this is the realm of understanding that there's spirits in everything. And how do we be careful with that information and be strong with that information and be respectful with that information? How do we build altars? How do we connect with the spirits? How do we hear them? How do we connect with the spirits that we want to connect with and stop connecting with the spirits that are bothering us? How do we connect deeper, especially if we're already in a faith? How do we connect deeper with that faith? How do we build altars to that faith? How do we connect in a way that we can have a conversation with that deity or with that realization? What else? Intention. We talk about intention here. So with the realm of spirits, I think in the way that I discussed it, it's pretty obvious. And I try to take my students to invoking, so the deeper levels, and the students that will really admire this class. That's not true. Well, my excitement for teaching this class is to teach advanced students how to invoke safely spirits and why to invoke space safely and when. And invocation is the process of allowing a guide, a goddess, a spirit into your body. And there are safe ways to do that and really, really sick, unfortunate ways to do that. So I'm just cautioning you, don't do this without having a guide or extensive practice already, because the lessons can be really, really hard. When I was little, when I started invoking too much and working with spirits that I didn't know any better, I started to accumulate schizophrenia. So at the age of 16 or so, I started to get schizophrenia. And luckily was saved. I happened to have a divine moment of grace where I suddenly woke to the light, and all of that was just taken from me. But so it's in my heart and in my soul to take you out of that suffering, to take you out of that possible mistake, and just show you about it and teach you about it so that you can avoid it. But invocation can be really beautiful in order to do, especially weddings. I love to invoke maybe Isis or Astarte or whichever goddess wants to come in, so that I can give this couple the most amazing blessings, as if that goddess was there, incarnate, available to help them through this beautiful ceremony and process. So I want to be able to teach people how to do that and to set your boundaries so that your life is clear and that feels really good, and it's just good for everybody all around. And we talk about that in class too. So if you're working with spirits, if you're calling spirits, if you pray to certain deities or spirits or forms, if you channel information, which means that you can hear somebody talking to you or feel this knowledge, if you're a mystic, which means that you're supposed to be a prophet for the people, for change. So you get these downloads, they're called, of information, and you just know these wisdoms. Then you're working with spirits, and I teach you how to do that in a safe way, because I've learned the hard way in so many different ways and in so many different realms. So with this realm of spirits. Let's see what I can give to you now. They're telling me to allow this invocation through. Give me one moment. There's two that would really like to come through, and there's only one that I want. Dear ones, this is the ruby red blushing sapphire rose of of the crystal pink quartz. I am here to sharpen your understanding of compassion and love and virtue and strengthen your heart so that you will serve the masses and make the greatest of impact in your sweet and quite short human life. We love you, dear ones. We honor you. We're here to nurture you softly and gently as if you were sweet babes in a fresh garden of roses with petals as your bed. Sweet dear ones, we know that your lessons are difficult and hard, and especially if you are here to help others and to nurture them. We all need guides, and we all need friends in this journey and people who can speak our language. We have come today to, and this is hard for your speaker to say, but we have come here today to honor her wisdom and truth and ability to speak and to teach and to change lives in such an amazing, incredible way. And she is cutting us short, so we will just let you know that we would like you to take her class. Those of us of the blushing red ruby quartz. And then there's this beautiful white-blue light of angels singing in the background. I did not expect that to come through. But that's the thing about working with the spirits, is it's beyond us. It's beyond what we know as humans and in our little ego forms, even in our greater, grander, super ego forms. And so what will transpire next? When you take each of these thoughts and we expand them into an entire month of experience, the ways that you change and transform each moon is awe-inspiring. The people around you will notice, and they will continue to notice for your whole life, as long as you stay brave enough to remember this and to go with it, to fly with it, to help others with it. And not all of you are going to come in order to help others, but eventually you will be helping others. And the reason that you're feeling like you need to come just for yourself is because that's where you're at right now, and that's okay. It may take you 40 years before you're ready to help others, and that's okay. Where I'm at the age of 40 is extreme, because I started when I was 5, because I struggled so hard to get any information, and everybody told me it was impossible and that didn't exist. And I grew up in a place that believed you were either Christian or you were a Satanist. But I didn't believe that. I grew up with knowing Buddhism and knowing these other beautiful forms of spirituality and religion exist. But I couldn't find any teachers. So I made a lot of mistakes. And then when I finally busted free and I was 18, I went and I traveled as far and as deeply as I could, questing for this spiritual information, giving everything up and putting myself into the bodhisattvic servitude of being barefoot and homeless and still feeding hundreds of people a day, and questing. And the whole time my ears open, and I would stop everything to listen to anything spiritual, to listen to any truth from somebody's heart, to listen to any miraculous event that was happening. And because I'm meant to be teaching this. So that's why what happened with me is accelerated, and I want to give that to you in this 7-month program so that where I was at the age of 40 now is where you can be at a younger age, or maybe you could be there at 60, but you've still got time. And even if you just learn this for this one moment and you die, then you're elevated already. Okay. So the first realm of magic and shamanism is that practice and that virtue. The second realm is the spirits, understanding the spirit world around you. The third realm of magic and shamanism is health and wellness, nutrition, things like that. And I teach you about all of the different aspects. So did you know that a lot of people just go to massage school or nutrition school when really there's nutrition schools from all around the world? You can learn a form of ancient Tibetan surgery. You can learn, the Aztecs had this form of medicine and diagnostic medicine even, that's all revolving around the Naliol and the Aztec calendar. And you can diagnose and treat conditions based on their astrology. And it works. There's the ancient, so my favorite forms are the Chinese medicine. So the best school in the world is actually in New Mexico. Did you know that? Because there's a lot of spirituality involved in the ancient Chinese techniques, and they're not allowed to teach that in China. And Ayurvedic medicine is just beautiful. The way that they do nutrition and their herbs are so strong. But then there's herbalism. There's just so many realms. So if you're into this form, you'll be looking at all the different forms. There's water shiatsu, where you massage people or dogs by pulling them around in the water, and it brings them back to this calm state of harmony and peace, and they can let go of their suffering in a way that they can bring them answers and align their spine. And so we go over in this class, and if you're into this realm of magic and shamanisms, I encourage you strongly to go and research all of the different forms of natural healing that there are available. When I tell people that I'm a medicine woman, all kinds of pictures pop up in their mind. But they don't, and at first, on one level, people are like, oh yeah, I know what that is. But then if they had to describe it, they're like, oh, does that mean you do herbalism? Does that mean you shake a rattle over people? Does that mean you chant weird chants and expect them to heal? Yeah, it means all of that for me. And more, but not for everybody. For some people, they're acupuncturists. They specifically know the meridians in the body and where to press them or puncture them in order for them to flow best, and then your whole system lights up and is happy and healthy. Some people specialize in water purification. Some people, so as we go over the health and wellness, we talk about all these different genres. But it's more than just these different genres. And I'd like you to go with the ones. I encourage you, please, if you learn anything from me at all today, go with the genres that light up your heart. If there is something that I just said in the past 5 minutes where you were like, oh, and you start to get excited and you're like, I know, that's so good. Maybe you should explore that and dive in. If you've had acupuncture treatments and they have changed your life, maybe you're supposed to work for an acupuncturist. Maybe eventually you're supposed to do acupuncture. Maybe you should start to learn the acupuncture laws, because they're different in every state. I know in Texas, you don't need a license to practice, but in the next state over, New Mexico, you're supposed to be a doctor first. and then you're allowed to get your acupuncture license and use it. So, but whatever you do, follow what makes you excited and inspired. There's a couple different levels to health and wellness too, and we do cover them in the course, and I'll talk to you about them right now for a minute. But drink some water. It's the number one thing. I'll just read to you from the syllabus. I mean, this was given to me by Isis, so it should be shared. Body, mind, spirit, and soul are inseparable in this form. We want them to be at their peak condition. This month, or in this realm, it is important to be honest with ourselves about who we are. So we go deep into the sacred mirror, which shows us clearly who we really are, and helps us to dive deeply into what annoys us about that and to transform it so that we're even better who we are. We want to be at our peak performance and vitality. I do go into the voice here a lot, into chanting. Chanting is this practice that allows us it pulls up the drudges of emotion that are hidden in our bodies. They just stick in our bodies in different places. Cancer, for instance, is this disorder that happens. If you go in and talk to it psychically, cancer is trying to help us. It's trying to take all that hate and stress and self-esteem issues and anxiety and chemicals and toxins and put them into one place in our body. It thinks that storing them is going to help us. And as we use our voice to express ourselves, that stuff breaks up and can't accumulate. So we go deep into chanting. So it dredges up emotions. It helps us to reach the spiritual. And it's also touching our physical presence. It's physically our voice. It's radiating from our diaphragm up, and it's our core is engaged as we do it. So we do go there. And the form of chanting, I do teach you several forms of chanting throughout the school, but I like this one that talks about the sacred mirror. And a lot of my students seem to really love that one too. So here we start to talk about how to be a good client, how to be a good doctor, how to be a good citizen, and about all these different modalities that I love. So the first realm of magic and shamanism, if you're into it, is the virtues and practices. The second one, if it's for you, is the spirits. The third one is health and wellness. And yes, you can be in more than one realm at a time. As I told you in the beginning, I'm in all 7, and that's not normal, but it might be for you. But definitely you could be in 1 or 2 of these, but not the third, or you could be in just one of them, whatever. I just want you to know that if one of them doesn't feel right to you, that doesn't mean you're not a shaman. It doesn't mean you're not magic. It doesn't mean that you're not spiritual. It just means that you do it differently. And so the cool thing about this syllabus is you can stop trying to placate that you're something that you're not. Or you can defend yourself a little better just by knowing, just by being able to say, oh yeah, that's not what I do, which is okay. So other people do that. But it's not so crooked anymore. So the fourth realm, I'm supposed to give you something from these. The third, okay, here's your gift from the third realm that's easy to integrate into your life, whether you're a practitioner who already knows this but doesn't know how simple it is to tell your clients, or whether you're already obese or underweight. This would help you if you're underweight as well. So I had this client about 10 years ago, and I like to tell you that because they've changed so much. 10 years ago, they were overweight. The wife was getting chubby. She wasn't used to being chubby in her life and was not having it. Her husband was obese. The doctors told him that he doesn't have long to live at this rate. I'm really careful with my clients to honor what they'll really do. I could prescribe them something and they'll never do it. Like teas. Maybe somebody's like the answer is this miracle tea. And so I give it to them and tell them to make 2 of these a day, but maybe that person really won't both make the tea and drink the tea. It sounds so simple to us as practitioners, but very many cases, people just won't drink the tea. So I had to start simple with these people, really simple, some 4 basic practices they could put into their life. One of them was to replace the table salt with sea salt. Table salt is just toxic, generic junk that doesn't even make sense. Sea salt is filled with all of these micronutrients and really important nutrients that we need and crave throughout the day, and we keep craving it until we get them. That's why they make chemical salts partly. Some people specialize in chemical salts because they're actually addictive, because you want more and more salt until you get these micronutrients. So just start the day off with some sea salt, some Soleil, or some salt in your eggs or whatever. But whatever you do the salt with, whenever you do it, it's important that you never use table salt and use the sea salt or the earth salts. But not real salt, because that pink real salt, it's called real salt, that's from Utah near these atomic testing sites. So, second one is that they should stop eating out all the time. So instead of 5 to 7 meals a week eating out at a restaurant, narrow it down to 2 meals a week. That means that they'll do about 4 instead of 9 or whatever. They might not do exactly what you say, but that's what I told them. I said 2 or 3 times a week, tops, and the rest of the time eat at home. The third and fourth are kind of connected. Those are the oils. So we've got to fix the oil problem. For some people, it's a big jump just to go to olive oil. So it's really easy to but they'll do it. They'll change from canola to olive. It depends on what they're eating. But for them, they were eating, I think it was canola or vegetable oil. So jump them up to olive oil. And then when they're ready, also give them the option of grapeseed. Grapeseed is definitely better than olive oil. Sesame is pretty good too. But I told these people olive oil at the time because that's where they were at and what they could do. Grapeseed has a much better effect on your body, and it fries at a higher temperature. I fry everything. That's how I cook. I just throw a whole bunch of oil into the frying pan and throw my food in there till it's hot and ready. And I'm pretty darn healthy. So I do recommend oils and fats. We need them, but they've got to be healthy oils and fats. So I told them those 3 things, and then their other oil was that I took them off of butter and put them onto Smart Balance margarine, which isn't good for the ecosystem. I much prefer the melt butter because of the palm oil being sustainable in the melt. But at the time, melt isn't everywhere, so it was easier to tell them the Smart Balance, which is pretty amazing. It does help the excess hard fats to get out of your body. It helps to slough them off. So they did those 4 things: salt, butter, oil, restaurants. They lost 150 pounds in just a couple months. And that's not the best part. The best part is they felt so much better. They started to relook at everything in life. And they started to follow this Bible-based diet that's mostly whole foods. And they started to enjoy cooking and figuring out because they liked restaurants. They really liked restaurants. So they started to figure out, how can I eat healthy at a restaurant? And where are the healthy restaurants? And what are the best tasting foods at the healthy restaurants? So they got this excitement for this nutritional way of living, this healthy, holistic way. And they started on their own shamanic path through health and wellness finally. And this year they're trying to cut out sugar. Well, she is. So it's fun. I love to follow my clients and students as they progress, and as these little things can change their lives. It can change your life, right? It changes my life to see your life change as well. So that's the third realm, and that's your third gift, extra special gift. The fourth realm of magic, shamanism, and the healing arts is your psychic sensory. So this is one of my favorite subjects. I'm just so grateful for my ability to check in with my psychic sensory. I don't always have it. And that's the number one thing to know about being psychic, is almost nobody is completely psychic about everything all the time. That would make us omniscient, right? I don't know any human who's omniscient at every moment. Let's give an example, because this is a really important point to know whether you're psychic or whether you go to psychics to get your help, right? So some things that can bring you out of your psychic self is self-doubt, or if you just had a fight, or if you're struggling with some really difficult task. So your mind is narrowed down and focused on that. And then this happens to me all the time. Somebody comes up and they're like, oh, Star, this is happening in my life, and what do I do? What do you get about this? What's your vibe? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm trying to zip up my kid's jacket because he wants to go outside and it's freezing. He's fighting me about it. That's where I'm focused. Instead of, and I would be wrong to stay in this focus and to stay a little frustrated with what I'm doing and to tell her the first thought that comes into my mind, or to pick up an easy answer, because that's not what she asked for. She's asking for my divine psychic information. In order to do that, there are special tools and techniques that each psychic uses, in order to get into that psychic channel, to that psychic knowing. And it's important to respect and honor that in psychics. If you're out at a party and you come up to a psychic and you want to know something right away, and she says that you'll need to make an appointment in order to get that information, and you're like, well, it's just a yes or no question, right? A lot of people get upset, and I know this because it happens to me all the time. They don't realize that we're not trying to gouge extra money from you where it's easy. If it was easy, I would tell you the answer. We're trying to make sure that we're in the highest vibrational state we can be in, so that we have the supreme and honest and clear and full truth of the story and wisdom to impart upon you. For example, if somebody said, am I going to get fired? I might get a quick answer, yes. And if I'm frustrated and focused on something else, I might just say yes, but that would be irresponsible. My job is, and anybody's job as a psychic or healer or a shaman, any of these magical arts, and one of the things I have to teach in my class is what a huge responsibility this is. The accountability is deep, and you're changing people's lives. They're making heavy decisions based on what you say. They're investing thousands of dollars. They're leaving their husbands. This is not something to fool around with or to give a quick, snappy answer to. But that being said, it can be a lot of fun. So if somebody tells you they need to set an appointment in order to give you the answer, is because, maybe, yes, you're going to get fired was the answer. But if you set an appointment and we sit down and talk, and I do the processes that it takes to put me to the divine place of knowing and wisdom, and the tools that I use to find the answers in that situation, then I would know a wiser answer than the truth. The truth is down here. Wisdom is up here and can look down on the truth and give it to you in a really honest format that can change your life. So if I told that guy yes, and or yes, your secretary is lying about you. Maybe that was my frustrated answer. He'd go off and dig up this information about his secretary and her lies and present it and save his job. So it looks like I helped. Win-win. The truth is, when he sits down in my session and I open up to the psychic divine wisdom, I hear that yes, he's getting fired. He never liked this job. This job is a lot of stress. He can't even be with his kids, except for like 3 hours a week while he's at this job. And so as I'm listening to this psychic truth, I see that yes, he's getting fired. Yes. And because he's fired, he's getting this severance package that's going to allow him to invest in what it is that he's been planning for all of these years. And I don't know what that is. I don't know he's been doing that. But the divine wisdom knows, and he knows. And he invests in that, and he's able to. And I could see in my psychic senses, I can see him walking on the beach, like his footprints in the sand with his kids jumping up and down all around, and they're still young. They're still young enough to enjoy his time off and his prosperity and happiness and harmony. So I show you how to enjoy this responsibility, but if the psychic realm isn't for you, then I show you how to trust the psychics that you go to and how to honor them and respect them. And if you are the psychic, I show you how to value that, how to honor that, how to connect with that, and be responsible with that, but still have fun with it. All in 1 month. So, my gift from the psychic realm, I guess, is to be psychic, which sounds like the spirit realm, but it's not really. Let's see. So in this realm, we do seeing auras, divining the past and the future. We do DNA activations or cleansings or divine intuition and exercises, holistic medicine suggestions, and intuitive anatomy. Did you know one of my teachers, this is my next level, this is my next course I'm taking, it's called Intuitive Anatomy. When somebody walks into her office, because she used to be a naturopath and she's a psychic, she can just look their body up and down and she can tell how much of what disease is where in their body. She can tell how long ago their nose was broken and if their bladder is tilted. So that's really, really cool and possible. Let me see what your gift will be in this realm. Creator of all that is, Etana, Great Spirit, Goddess of love and light. It is commanded in the highest and the best way that we reach everybody here listening in the highest and best way. So if you're listening, they're asking you to just breathe. Align your body and yourself. Pull the energy from the earth up through your body. Let it spiral around each chakra, bursting open from the crown chakra and this beautiful ball of light around you and pulling you up easily and quickly through the ceiling. And you could easily breathe in your bubble and it's clear. And go all the way up past the ceiling and look down on the house. Go up above, look down in your neighborhood, see everything below. See the lights. Go higher, see your whole city, see the whole region. Watch as the oceans hug the continents below. Go out further and above. Good. Go above the earth, look at the earth below you. See the solar system below you and the beautiful galaxy, and feel the billions of miles of stars up above you, below you, beside you, behind you, before you. And move upward all the way past the universe, past the lights and the darks, past the rainbow mists and the golden dimensions, past into the thick, gooey, jello-like layer of the laws, contracts, the names go up. Find compassion, the law of compassion. It's this pink, beautiful mist, and let it lift you up through these laws, through this beautiful portal at the top of the sixth plane of existence that takes you into this beautiful divine space of creativity and God and Goddess, creator of all that is, Atanaha, great spirit. This is the realm of the creator of all that is. It's non-judgmental, it's safe, it's merciful. From here we can know anything and help anyone to heal by co-creating with the creator of all that is, and it's our divine birthright to be here. This is the way that the Theta healers call the roadmap to the divine. And creator of all that is, it is commanded in the highest and the best way that I know. What people will need to know on this replay to help them express their magical potential in the highest and the best way. Be bold and brave, children. This is the dark hour. Earth is restoring. There's no need to argue, but there is need to stand up. For what is right in the gentle ways. By raising the conversation and articulating more clearly our mystical experiences. You who are watching are a mystical experience. And we can only enjoy it when you act upon the magic that is in you, the guidance you are given. And the joy you see possible. It is possible. Okay, that's your divine gift from the psychic sensory realm. So we've got the realm of practice and virtues, the realm of spirits, the realm of wellness and healing, and the realm of psychic sensory. The fifth realm of magic, shamanism and healing, is very similar to psychic sensory, and a lot of people get them mixed together, but they are separate realms, even though a lot of psychics are also divination artists. So this is the realm of divination. And divination is any tool or practice that allows you to read patterns to explain phenomenon. So you use it for clarity. You use it to find out about a person or an event or a repeating pattern or the best way to accomplish something or the best place to be, to find the best. So divination is things like tarot and runes and pendulums and astrology and phrenology and palmistry. You could even read body language and things like that, and scrying comes in here. There's some overlap with the body lap and the scrying with other things, but basically, so those are the divination tools, and we talk about divination a lot and show you the basic level of these things. But what I like to do, what I notice is that a lot of the people that come to my school already have this basic knowledge, or they've been excited to learn something basic. So I go over the basics, and then I show you, for those of you who are really good at the art, or even those of you who are just starting, so that you go down the right path with it, I show you some cool next level techniques. I'm trying to think of a good next level technique to give you as your gift, because I'm feeling like that's the best way to do it. Okay, here's a good next level technique that really helps you as a reader if you're already a professional diviner in some way. A lot of my clients have never had a reading before, mostly because, and they tell me this, even a lot of the bikers, actually, I work with bikers pretty often, they want a tarot reading, they're super curious, and they are drawn to the tarot cards like flies on honey. They need a reading. And they ask all kinds of questions and they hover around, and you can see they really want that reading, but they don't know why. They're like being forced by their guides over to get clarity. Readings can give you clarity. So I'll give you two next level techniques. One, I highly encourage you and invite you to stop just reading what people already know about themselves. I don't do parlor tricks, and if you're here to help, you can take it to a next level by actually answering their questions. So I want to give people clarity. I personally answer the question that's most burning on your heart. If you could ask the divine anything and just get clarity so that you can make the decisions and move on with your life, that's what I answer with my readings. And you don't have to read that way, and I honor whatever way you read, but I encourage you to practice that until it actually starts happening, because it's really cool. So the reason the bikers give me for not coming is that they're afraid. And a lot of other people, they're afraid of what it will say. What if it's something scary? What if I'm going to die? What if it's disastrous? And I feel bad for them. I feel bad for the readings that they must have seen or heard about in the past. I feel bad for readers that do this to people, because the next level understanding is that the answer is in the cards. If you have a disaster reading, like something is really awful, there is a way to look at the cards or the runes or the dream and find your answer. Find the way out. Find a way to change destiny and divine paths. Because when we're born here, we mostly have free will. We get to choose what our life is going to be like. There's only like 2 to maybe 8 things. Some people have like 22, but that's a stupid lot. But there's only a couple real destined moments, predestined, no matter what. Nothing can stop it. And in all of my readings, for 35 years now, I've had one reading that I couldn't fix. I couldn't solve, I couldn't resolve. And mostly it was because I don't think he wanted it resolved. I think he liked that and his demeanor. Although I could never really understand that. That's up to him. But I don't know if that's the truth. But what I do know is that the answer can be really beautiful and hidden, and you can find it. So that's my secret tip. If you work with that, if you just quest with your tools, ask them to show you how, or rearrange them, or find a better layout. In the class, I go deep into how to do that, but for tonight, I'll just tell you the way that I did it is to keep questing for the answer, keep playing with my tools, and being responsible with what they're saying. So not every deck is going to work for every person. Even if they're a quality professional reader, they may not be able to read with your deck. Your deck may actually not work for them, and it may actually not work for anybody. Each deck has a different personality. And I'm saying deck, but like if you're using a tool like a pendulum or the rune stones or a spirit board, they've all got their different personality going. If you read astrology, it sort of has its own, each different astrology definitely has its own personality between Chinese and Ayurvedic and Western astrology, Mayan astrology, Aztec astrology. They do all have their own voices. And even among the Mayan astrology, for instance, there's 17 different belief systems about what day it is in the 260-day count. And what I found out about that is that they're all correct. They just have their own personalities. They answer different questions. So I hope I gave you a lot of value just there, whatever level you're at, and whether you are supposed to be in the divination field or whether you go to get readings from people who divine patterns for you. Now you know how to take that to the next level, how to trust the person that you're getting a reading from, etc. So that was your gift. Woo! So we made it pretty far into this, right? We only have 2 more different realms of magic and shamanism. I just want to thank you for being here for a minute. What do I want to tell you? If you're interested in this school, please let me know. You can put it in the comments below, or if you're sitting on a landing page that says you can pay now for the course, you can do that. Actually, if you are the next 2 people to pay for the course, you actually get for $1,000 the whole course instead of $2,000. If you want the VIP treatment, that's pretty beautiful. I'll just tell you now, I'm really excited to finally be able to offer this VIP program because it's what I've always wanted to give people, but I could never, anyway, now I can. So for $5,000, you get the VIP treatment, and I'll take extra special care of you this time around, and I'm excited to see what comes out of that for each person. You could be my student for $2,000. For $1,000, I'll give you the 7-month program in videos, but you're not technically my student because we don't also get the teleconferences and the one-on-one check-ins and the homework. And well, you get some of the homework, but not all of the homework, and all of these other little pieces. But it's still a lot of value. Definitely, to take something like this is probably a $5,000 value most other places. So I'm trying to save you money and time and give you a lot more for your unique way. And then hopefully, my hopes is that you go to more teachers, that you continue to learn your whole lifetime, and that instead of wasting money on the wrong teachers or the wrong modality, you're really clear about what you're supposed to do, which gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of strength, and a lot of magic. And you can go for what you want to do and become it faster and with less mistakes than most people make. We'll just keep it at that. So the 6th class is client care. The 6th realm of magic and shamanism, the 6th way of this kind of healing arts is client care. Not everybody is going to take clients. Luckily, this student graduated from my magic and shamanism school a while back, and it was really obvious that he is not meant to be taking clients. He was there for healing. He was there for wisdom and knowledge. And during our ceremony class, I saw what he's supposed to do, and he's supposed to reach people and impact people by being the farmer, which is cool. And then eventually he'll take clients, but he'll be a lot older. He'll have established his own permaculture farm by then, basically. So he ended up being really excited and to go into the Ayurvedic school. But he was one of the only students of his class to graduate without taking clients in the clinic. He said, that's not what I'm supposed to do. And he saved so much time, so much frustration, so much energy on just knowing that about himself because he'd been through my school. So what he did get excited about with the Ayurvedic is the medicine, the wisdom, the knowledge, and he's learning and teaching Sanskrit. So the chants, the prayers, that all connected with him on a deep level. And he'll continue to study Ayurvedic wisdom for the rest of his life and to be able to use that for the rest of his life. But he knew that the clinical part was not for him. What is my point in that? My point is that not everybody's meant to work with clients, and that's why this is a different path, a different realm of magic and shamanism. And it's something we can dive really deep into. I've been taking clients, professional healthcare clients, since 1995. I was 17 and, well, yeah, maybe it was before 1995, 1994. I was 17 and this woman was getting an early hysterectomy and was really afraid about the aftercare and everything. So I made her this plan to follow and this program to follow and a bunch of herbs and foods that would help. And she was so impressed and mesmerized. And I took tarot clients before that, but it was not something I recognized I was doing or was trying to be professional about in any way. So for all of these years, I've been learning about how to be more professional, even though that's totally not my norm. It's not my organic form to be professional. My organic form is to be the medicine woman, to transform lives, to inspire people, to spread the love, to spread the health, to spread this wisdom, to get people into a more joyful, holistic, shamanic thinking and experience so that we develop this more shamanic and exciting and beautiful and world. In a nutshell, that's what I do. So when we talk about client care, we do talk a lot about not only this, we talk about professionalism and we talk about legal boundaries and truths that you have to follow and how to check yourself for those things. But we also talk, and we do talk about diseases and disorders, and we talk about negatives like exorcisms and how people have these negative spirits and psychic hooks on them, and old vows. There's things that the doctor can't find those things. But when you're working with clients, you're going to work with clients who have demons on them, and that is why they can't breathe. It's not because they're, the doctors are like, well, you're not overweight. I don't know why you can't breathe. They might check 7, 8, or 9 symptoms. They might run all these tests, can't find out why somebody can't breathe. Well, it's because there's a demon sitting on their chest. And what are you going to do if a client comes to you and has a demon sitting on their chest? Are you going to be able, and if you take this course, I will show you if you're going to be able to and when and how to do that, if that's for you. But it's important to recognize it. So you can help them with all kinds of things that are going to help, like nutrition or wellness or whatever your thing is, blessings. But a real professional knows that if they see this demon on the chest and they don't deal with demons, that's not their forte, to do what you do for them and then send them to the specialist for the demon on the chest. That's my specialty. Hey, that's me. And it is my specialty. Actually, I love to do exorcisms. When people agree to get rid of their demon, then I'm happy to help them get rid of their demon. If they want to keep it, I'm happy to allow them to keep it. I'd be happier if they let me get rid of it. But so I teach you as much as I can of what I know in this intro course. Like I said, I can't give you a master's course, but you're going to feel like a master when you graduate, and you're going to continue to master yourself. And if you are hearing me and not taking my course, it's because each of these realms, it's so cool to dive into them and to know where you really belong. That if you're a shaman or a medicine man, you can articulate, oh, I don't do that. If you want a tarot reading, I can tell you, I can refer you to someone else in my community who's really good at that. But what I do for you is this. To be able to articulate that is invaluable. Did you know that nobody hires let's say, so the modality that I use that's transformed the most lives and that I see the strongest and most powerful thing that I've learned in all these world times is called theta healing. Nobody hires a theta healer. Nobody's out there looking for a theta healer. So instead, I tell them what I do for them. Like, for instance, I love to work with fibromyalgia clients because it erases their pain for like 6 months on average every time they come in. And if they would just come in 4 or 5 times or even 3 times for some of them, it may be gone forever. So I get really excited about that, and I can speak to what I do specifically. And then people will hire. Nobody wants to hire a Reiki healer. They want to hire somebody who can put them back into proper alignment, recenter them, ground them, make them feel more relaxed and more capable of sleep, and at the same time taking away this incredible migraine in the front of your eyes, right? If you do Reiki, and those are things you do for people, they don't want to hear that you do Reiki. They don't care how you do it. They want you to heal them in these specific ways. That little trick was invaluable, $1 million advice, let me tell you. So I think that is my little gift for you on the client care. And I just want to teach you all of this stuff right now. So the client care also goes deeper. It goes into like learning how to listen to the truth. Like you might be an herbalist, for instance, but because you've been through my school, or because you're also connected to another one of these realms of magic and shamanism, when you're working with a client and you would normally recommend dandelion root for this person, or a specific school or healer, you would learn when divine information is trying to come in. And I call this the moment of, or the listening. Deep listening to your client is important, but deep listening to your client is something we definitely talk about. But the moment that the divine comes into your session and tries to tell you something that is different from what you would normally say, it's really important to listen. And not just spit out what you think you know and my normal program is, because that person in front of you may actually need something different. Like I said, they may not actually make the tea. They may not go to the store and buy it. They may not make it. And if they make it, they may not drink it. So if you're about to prescribe them this tea or this healer or anything else, and the divine tells you, no, tell them to go outside with you, put their feet barefoot into the earth, bury them with their own hands, then you put your hands on their hands and their head and you say this prayer. Then come back in and we'll prescribe them some holistic medicine. So my point is that we talk about this thing called the moment, where it's not just your normal treatment of people. Every single client is different, and we want to open up to that knowing within ourselves and within about our clients, and that deep listening that helps us to recognize what a person might need uniquely. Whew! So we're almost through with all of the 7 realms of magic and shamanism. Thanks for sitting here listening to them, because it is some of the most exciting thing in my life to receive this information, to be able to teach people on this level. My students on average graduate from the 7-month program with 33% more magical knowledge and wisdom and experience than they had when they came in. And then throughout the year, I get to watch them blossom and blossom and blossom. And the years, I watch them. I feel like a mother hen for each of my students and my clients, but especially my students, because you travel with me through so much, and I'm so proud of you, and I see so much change continuously throughout your life as I see you take more classes with me or with other teachers, or as you start to help other people, or just even when you have your downfalls, you find your way out of it. You recognize that there are tools because you took this class to get you out of it, and then you can get to your next level again and never be that down again. So the very last realm of magic and shamanism is one, a lot of people think of immediately when they think of magic and shamanism, but it's one that almost nobody does. I was having lunch at the Loving Vegan Cafe here locally with a friend of mine from Sri Lanka the other day, and he said, Starlight, not everyone can do what we do. He said, only 3 maybe 4% of the population are leaders. And that's kind of what the goddess was telling me about the ceremony part, because I always attributed ceremony to everything. I love ceremony, and it's part of what got me so far. One of my favorite lines in Buddhism, it talks about, what does he say? At that time, the world-honored one calmly awoke from his samadhi. Shariputra, the wisdom of the Buddhas is infinite and profound. It's immeasurable, and not one of the voice hearers nor Prakta Buddhas is able to comprehend this, because the Buddha has fully carried out an immeasurable number of religious practices. Her name is universally known, and her voice can delight the hearts of the assembly. And it's this immeasurable number of religious practices that really gave me what I know. So I love to teach the ceremony, and I know that ceremony is not what everybody thinks that they want to do. But like I said, my shyest student ever, she became the priestess. We never know exactly what our truth is until we explore and quest and journey with it. So in order to get the whole class involved in the ceremony course, I send out paperwork before, and then we get together for a ceremony. And we have my very favorite class. We have this ceremony, and I get to see the wisdom that's imbued in each person throughout the semester, and congratulate them. And I don't give away the certificate unless I see that they have changed and earned it. And there's something about this program that really makes that happen. So getting all weepy. Here we go further and deeper into cleansings and portals of strangeness and the circle of protection and perfect love and perfect trust. Invocation, calling spirits, intention, the request and command, witnessing, just these different steps of the ceremony, like witnessing and public speaking and performing. We go into kind of that. And by here, we've perfected that connection with the highest form of love and light that we can possibly imagine. By this time, we could probably imagine it more close to what it really is. Because if you lead a ceremony, you can do it based on, like, maybe there's a Catholic ceremony that people do, right? It's all written down and you just read it verbatim. You can do ceremonies read verbatim, but I show you how to take the bardic truth through your voice, through your diaphragm, through your performance, through your belief in those words, through knowing that words are powerful, to create a deeper, more profound ceremony, a ceremony that actually affects people rather than just reminds people. So in this ceremony class, the ceremony portion, we also talk about curing the injury. Oh no, here, that's different. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a gift. Oh, a song. I'm going to listen to my guides on this one. Give me just a moment. Yes. So it is winter solstice, right? Pretty soon the very longest, coldest night of the year. Imagine that you're in Alaska. The Inuit people had a special song. In the cold, cold winter, when they had even days of darkness, and even in the summer when the sun came out longer, they had a special song that they would do for the rising sun, in thanks and gratitude for the rising sun. And I had a shaman from their tribe gift me with the blessing to use and share this song. And it's so sweet. It's such a sweet, simple ceremony. If you dive into learning ceremony, you'll see why and know why. It's untranslatable, what I'm about to sing, but it's basically that gratitude for the rising sun when you think the whole world is cold, extreme, excruciating, murderous, dark. To see that sun rising in the very early morning rises these emotions through, and the gratitude through, and you remember that spring will come again, that when the sun falls it will rise, when the winter comes it will melt, when the shadow spirits haunt we will evolve. And it goes like this, and they repeat it in sets of 3. I'm only going to do one set today. Yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, don't go. Face the east. Yeah, oh, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, away. Yeah, oh, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, away. And thank you as well, not only the sun for rising and for the warmth that I have in this house and the lights that I can turn on when I want. It brings in the gratitude. And gratitude is so magical. We learn about it in the virtues portion. I highly recommend that you study it deeply, not just write down gratitudes, but feel the law of gratitude surrounding and teaching you. Let's see. So now it's the question portion. If you have any questions for me about the school or explaining anything specifically that I said, please let me know. Let's see. That was a text from my activism. I've been trying to stop the gas pipelines and the oil pipelines and the fracking from the neighboring state just a few minutes away from here, Ohio. It's a work in progress. Good, so maybe none of you are listening, or maybe I need to hop over here and check out some other places and sources, which is fine because this can be replayed at any time. Yep, I don't see any questions. So I'll let you all go today. I've had a really good time talking to you and sharing this with you. Oh, I found the live chats. Okay. And I really hope that the reason that I teach you this is not to get you into my school specifically, although I do love to teach, and I love the impact that I have on people. The reason to teach you this is to show you, to validate your magical self, to show you that yes, magic happens. Yes, there are ways to connect with your magic, because I do believe that as we find and embrace and are brave enough to use our magical gifts and our unique divine paths, we'll have a much more beautiful and more divine world at our fingertips quickly. Just want to make sure I have everything here figured out. Oh, we should just review them real quick. So the 7 realms of magic and shamanism that you might fall into something in, that you might want to dive deeper into, to find your path to being a shaman or a medicine man or a medicine woman or magical or a healer, is virtues and practices, spirits, health, wellness, nutrition, divination. Oh no, psychic. Yeah, divination, psychic awareness, client care or curing the injured, and ceremony. And there's a way to cover all of that, to cover all the basics, so that when you go into healings or healers or into life or into schools or apprenticeships, you're wiser and you're more helpful, and you come out of this, I can't even explain it, but as I watch my students progress, as you learn to embrace these parts of yourself and find the ones that are good for you, I can't explain it much more than like this sense of deep pride. You guys are all, each of you who have been my students, are so stunning. You shine, you radiate, people can feel you and know that you have been touched, and know that you can touch them in a deep way that transforms their lives. And I'm so glad that I showed you how to do that with setting boundaries. And if you find where you belong here in the realms of magic and shamanism, even if you don't take my class, you can kind of sit with this and think about it. I like to integrate the basic truths of all 7 realms into whichever realm I'm using. That's why I like the course. But if you're not called to take the course, then you could use this to just branch off and find your niche. If you take the course, you'll probably find that you can branch off in many directions and impact more people. But that's not for me to determine or you to determine. That's really a divine type of thing. So if you're feeling called to take the class, if you're getting goosebumps about this, there's really a magic school, yes. It's really online, yes. It's really up to me mostly about the schedule and how much I put into it, yes. So I made this super easy and super, at the same time, really deep personally, at the same time as it's very generic and universal for everybody. So if you are feeling called to work with me and have any questions or doubts about that, then contact me, follow these links, fill out the enrollment application. It's only $22 to fill out the enrollment application. If you know me personally, you can just call and I will answer those questions. I'd be happy to. And I'll give you a little call if you fill out the enrollment application also to answer those questions. Since you're not here live with me at the moment. Well, I have a sister circle to get to, New Moon Sisterhood. So I will be seeing you all later. I hope this was a lot of help for you. If you want, there is a link to the application process, and it is below. Good, it's already done. And oh yeah, there's also, get a hold of me if you would like for free. There's this series of just 3 really simple tips to rekindling your connection with your intuition. That's just something I wanted to do free for you, because if everybody's living in their intuition, we'll all have a lot more fun in life. Alrighty then. I think I feel complete. I love you all. Good night.